Just try something. You ain't gotta go and try to like put it in a mouth or nothing
Yeah,
like that. But you can kind of like
put it
you
in your
can
mouth.
Hey, my loves, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. We have a different setup today. I'm Intisar. If you didn't know, it's my beautiful husband, Joe.
Hey.
He's out in the world on tour. Honey, tell us a little bit about it
Yeah, so are we out on tour right now
right
with
now.
right now with Diamante, um, who is opening up for a band called Shine Down. We actually posted some of the tour dates on the YouTube like stories or whatever it
Yeah, the
is.
community post. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can see that, because I never see it. So
You
um
can see it. You can see. I saw it when I was scrolling on my
yeah.
YouTube.
So we posted some dates, but yeah, we are in Billings, Montana right now. We got a show tonight here, and then thankfully a day off tomorrow.
But we're still making time to talk about Married at First Sight. Please make
Yeah.
sure that you hit that subscribe button as we want to keep bringing you guys good content and everything like that. But we can only do it if you guys are rocking with us. So, everybody, take this video, share it with somebody you know, ask them to subscribe to this channel, like this Mammy Tatton video, and let's chit chat about Married at First Sight. We're coming right off of the backs of the Katina and Elijah Wan argument. Even though they gave us a week in between, I really wasn't feeling that.
Yeah, it
Wasn't
wasn't.
feeling
It
that.
wasn't. It we They didn't give us a week in between. They needed a week because they weren't ready or whatever the heck was going on. Um, and I think we still dealing with the lifetime pandemic team, the B
You think
team,
they still
because
holding on?
I think they have to be because, like you said, this is week what 13.
13. We never had a break. I don't remember us ever really having a break.
Why would we need a break at 10, 12, 13 weeks in? Why would there be like a mid season break? That doesn't make sense to me. That just tells me that there was an issue on productions and on the production end, and they needed an extra week. So we gave them a
Mm.
week.
Oh, we get, oh, okay. Maybe that's what it is. Well, we're back, and I really wanted to open up this dialogue. I kind of wanted to begin with Katina and Elijah Wan because that's kind of where we left off. People had took real issue with how we saw the argument with Elijah Wan and Katina.
Because people are weak. That's the reality of it. The reality of it is that a lot of y'all, because I'm gonna respond right now because I didn't waste my time to respond to some of the comments
Mhm.
that was there. Many of them I didn't read, so a lot of the buffoonery that I'm even responding to is really from like Twitter and some other places. But the reality of it is we could see from this week that Katina and Olajuwon addressed the situation like real married couples do, right? They said, we had an argument, we came together about it, we talked about it, we made up, and we're moving on, right? That's what married folks do. You know what I mean? Like we're real people and real marriages that have real stomachs for this whole process. They're not getting a divorce over somebody screaming at them, or they're not getting a divorce over an argument over an app on the phone or something like that, or an outburst at dinner or anything like that. Like at the end of the day, we all agreed that in fact that Olajuwon was wrong in the way that he handled the situation at dinner. But where we vehemently disagree is that somehow somebody's husband, somebody's spouse, it doesn't husband or wife, has no place to be upset when somebody has a dating app on their phone, which is asinine. So it's one of those things where I wasn't even going to take the time to go back and forth with people who just want to be overreactors and jump off on the deep end. She need to leave him. He's abusive. He's this. He's that. I mean, this is the week of the overreaction. Y'all wanted to lock Will Smith up. Y'all wanted Olajuwon to be thrown off the show because he's a demon all of a sudden because he got upset that his wife had a dating app on his phone. At the end of the day, I can completely get with and understand people being turned off by Olajuwon's emotions because some of y'all just aren't built to be around emotional people or people who feel emotions or are passionate about anything, right? And that's fine because even Katina acknowledged people are gonna Olajuwon is polarizing. People are gonna meet him. They're gonna. Some people will love him. Some people will hate him because he's a polarizing individual. That's fine. Just say you don't like Olajuwon. But this whole idea that Olajuwon had no place to be upset, one, this is my favorite excuse, because she forgot. Or because
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like it was asinine. So that's why I wasn't about to go back and forth. The same way I don't argue with people about music who their experience goes nowhere past their iPod. It's the same way I don't argue about stuff like this because this is it was so silly. Again, the aspect that Olajuwon had no place to be upset and that he was simply wrong for even getting upset is just asinine to me, and it deserves no response. It deserves no, especially via text. I'm not finna go back and forth with people in the comments about that because it was stupid. And it sounds like Katina and Olajuwon agree that it was stupid. They done moved on past this thing.
I understand exactly what you're saying, but I do think there's something to people should. We are in a new age where emotional intelligence is something that now everybody has. Like, and it's really
Right.
mind blowing to me.
Right.
Y'all used to be fighting out right outside this window in the streets, rolling around in the grass, whatever the case may be. I love to see that everybody is oh so evolved. But what I'm getting at
But
is
they
that,
also evolved to the place where no one has ever had an argument.
and that's I'm
You
getting
know what I
there.
mean?
I'm
No one
getting
has ever
there.
had an argument. No one's ever said things they didn't mean. And if they do, that means for dismissal, which is a sign of our times, which is why a lot of y'all
It's why a lot of y'all are single.
are single
And
and going to stay single in this social
yeah,
media era where you think that better is only one swipe away, where you don't have the stomach to deal with anyone in any adversity, and y'all are very quick to push the eject button on dealing with real people and real emotions and real situations, and y'all searching for this Devon Franklin and Megan Good relationship that does not exist
it didn't
clearly.
exist for
And
them.
let me tell y'all, it doesn't exist for them, and it does not exist for you who
But
think that I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna get this off because I wasn't gonna come. I wasn't gonna go back and forth in the comments about this. So I'm gonna be
go
real.
ahead,
I'm
baby.
gonna
Go ahead,
address
baby.
this right here, right now. Then I'm not gonna address this stupidity anymore. Right?
What?
This pie in the sky relationship that some of y'all looking for, where nobody gets upset, nobody raises their voice,
Yeah.
nobody has discourse, nobody has low moments, nobody has moments where they have to have a serious come to Jesus communication for both ends, right? And there is no space for both people to be wrong, because at the end of the day, that's where y'all really was falling off the face of the earth to me in a sense of intelligence, where y'all couldn't understand the concept that both of them were wrong. Katina was wrong because she's a married woman and she shouldn't have a dating app on her phone, period. And Elijah was wrong for how he handled it. And until y'all can understand the concept that two people could be wrong and then literally communicate, come to a compromise and an understanding, and then move past it. And that's a space that I'm proud of Katina and Olajuwon, because that's a space that many people in the public, the general public, a lot of the viewers, people out here who think that they know how to do relationship and how to do marriage have no idea, because people have gone through far worse.
And that's kind of where I wanna and this is not a struggle Olympics, but I really want to get back to what you were saying about people aren't used to dealing with emotional people. Now, I vehemently believe that Olajuwon was just out of line for how he reacted and handled the
Which we
situation.
said multiple times in
And
the
we
last
said that.
video and in all the snippets. We said all that.
And we
So
said
if you
all that.
didn't get that, you just weren't listening.
We said that. But, big but, there is room. See, I think that there is room for people to come in and evolve from what we believe is their whole self. He still has room to make piss poor decisions. This is a marriage. It's two grown people coming together. This is a hella trying and emotional experience. And I think that for him to react in the manner that he did, as much as I think it was incorrect, I'm able to provide him with grace. One, because I'm a married woman who has seen my husband upset. You know what I mean? He has the space, the room to balloon sometimes because this is a safe landing space. You know what I mean? And I think that we cannot
But
provide
also because you want the same grace. But I don't want you to lose your thought, but just I want to make it clear that a lot of the grace that I give my wife is because I want her to give me the same grace. Because I can't hold her to a standard that I don't hold myself to. Because I know that I have low moments as well as she may have low moments. And those low moments don't make her don't
define her.
define her or our relationship. That's all
Right.
I wanted to say. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at, guys. Like I think that we spoke about this in like a way where they are not together. Elijah Wan on his own is this, that, it's all these red flags, whatever the case may be. The reality is you can be as whole as the fuck you want to be and come into a whole nother relationship with a brand new person, and being in that relationship and growing in love will break you down piece by piece. Why? Because you are literally pouring moments, space, like moments, feelings, emotions into something brand new. This baby that is your relationship that you have to grow, that you have to raise. So, will there be times when you're going through growing pains, which this is what that was, and you might act or react in a manner that is undesirable to the other person? Yes.
1,000%.
Yes, but when you're in the process of being in a relationship with somebody, there comes a moment where you decide, is this the moment or is this the relationship? And a
Right.
lot of y'all want to define Elijah Wan based on that moment when everybody around him has made it very clear that he is an emotional person. He can be that way. You know what I mean? So it's not that he's abusive to her, because abusers usually don't show up as abusers in their everyday life. Let's be for real, right? So it's just that he has the ability to get balloon, his emotions balloon. You know what I mean? And it might not show up the way we want. That's something that he has to work on. But sometimes you don't even notice that you have that issue until you have to occupy the space of somebody else. And I'm coming from a space of experience. We both had to make a decision where I believe that you just decide, like, is this a growing pain? You know what I mean? Or is this person? And of all the interactions that I had with my person, I could not align him with that particular bit at his lowest moments. Like, you know what I mean? And vice versa, I hope. And I'm saying that to say nobody wants you all to stay in relationships where you aren't valued and you are being accosted in any kind of way or assaulted in any kind of way. By all means, leave that. However, especially for black people, the way we have to muzzle ourselves day to day
It's just
and contain
ridiculous.
our emotions on a day to day, it's almost unrealistic for us not to come home and
It's
have
completely
moments like that.
unrealistic. It's completely unrealistic, and that was my that and that was why I call many people's stances on this stupid. Because
Take this big.
what's extreme stupidity to me is that this snubbing your nose at the fact that somebody, a married person, man, woman, or whatever else that's out here, the fact that they have no place and no right to be upset that their spouse has a dating app on their phone. It's asinine. That's the hill that a lot of people wanted to die on. Like it was a big thing of, well, he shouldn't have gotten upset, or he shouldn't have even gotten that
Or the
upset,
way
right?
he,
This whole thing,
right.
yeah, this thing that I can offend you and then tell you how to react to the offense, right?
And
And
I say
that
that all the time. You
is
can't do that to people,
it's
y'all. Like,
asinine.
you
It's
can't.
asinine.
Like, but Chris Rock. So it's like, you know what I mean? But I that what I'm getting at though, even though I did not, I thought that was wrong. And that's my stance. And we don't have to talk about it. I thought it was wrong, period. If you guys want longevity, love is such a fascinating thing. Marriage is work, but love, you cannot get love without pain. You cannot get love without hurt and disappointment. It's such an adventure that you go on when you are intertwined with another individual and in love with another individual, that it requires so much of all of your emotions. It's so visceral, it tingles your fingers, right? And that's primarily because you will experience every spectrum of emotion, and that includes the bad emotions. You know what I mean? And it's like, I really do applaud all these people who show up all the time in their relationships, at work, day to day, as their best selves. But guess what? We all have low frequency moments. And we just pray that the person that we lay next to every night is somebody who understands that this is a day and not my life. You know what I mean? This is my moment, but not me. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just want y'all to kind of give him a little bit of grace. We are seeing, in real time, this black man have to unpack his feelings. And y'all know, I one thing I'm not gonna do is cake for a motherfucking grown ass man. But I really want to say this is that the more I deal with my black man, okay, the more I deal with my black man, the more I realize that I don't know that you, Joe, necessarily had a space to show up emotionally. Like, you had spaces to show up as a drummer, to show up this way, to show up that way, right? But I don't know how many spaces you had where you could just be simply upset, hurt,
Because
disappointed.
the
You know what I
reality of
mean?
the reality of it is, and like you spoke to this a little while ago, we do this to our own selves and our own people. We are so quick to want to call somebody an angry black woman or an angry black man.
And I don't
I
want to
mean,
do
at the
that.
twinge of any type of legitimate emotion, because we're not going to act like finding out that your wife or husband has a dating app on their phone doesn't elicit a legitimate
An
emotion of
initial
upset.
upset
Like
response.
that's what's
Yeah.
so asinine to me that people can understand it. But at the first sight of any type of legitimate emotion or reaction, we're so quick to say, look at that angry black woman, look at that angry black man being a stereotype, being this, being that, you know what I mean? And we do this to ourselves a lot of the times, you know what I'm saying? We will lead the charge. It's bad enough that we have to deal with it from many other people from many other races, but we doing it to ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And I see the bias within just these shows, just the commentary on these shows, and this goes back to many different instances of this show and other shows. But it's just like this unrealistic expectation of humans that just is disgusting to me, you know what I mean? And it kind of was the thing that was leading the charge with the Olajuwon Pitchfork crew.
Right. And that's my thing. I want us to give our, and I know it wasn't an effort to protect black women. Like, I'm seeing that from y'all space. Where, like, we want to make sure that Katina is safe in the space that she's in and everything like that. I get that. But if y'all are in a relationship and y'all don't have, I'm not saying that me and Joe argue every month. We don't. You know what I mean? Or every 3 months. We really don't. But we got enough grace stored up that we might have a bad argument here and there. You know what I mean? And the reality is that a lot of you guys are seeing this unpack from a way where he's hyper emotional, and we don't see black men that way. So the fact that he's not poised and holding in how he's feeling, or whatever the case may be, it's triggering. And I get that. I really get that. And it was embarrassing, and it was way too much. And I believe all of those things. I'm just in a space where he's only going to learn from these things by being in close proximity with somebody he genuinely cares about. And it's only going to turn out to be changed behavior once he understands how much it hurts her feelings. He said himself on the after show, he felt like he didn't see that kind of emotion from her. And I know what y'all thinking, he shouldn't have to, but he needs that because he's emotional. So he needs to know that he's not crazy. He needs to know that, like, I'm not going through this alone. You don't think I'm acting crazy, because if we all be honest, uh, her initial response made sense, because she like, I know you ain't trying to check me in front of all these motherfucking people. And it's
Right.
like, I got to take the defense, right? Or I always get that confused, offense and defense. But now
Yes.
I
Oh,
got to
yeah.
be on this side of it. You know what I mean? Protecting myself, when in fact we should be working together to come to a solution. But guess what? Even that behavior is learned. Even that behavior, like sometimes you got to get on your knees in front of your man, look him in his eyes and be like, look, what's up? We all right? You know what I mean? And not like on something we're like, y'all won't hear that and think I'm big. But I mean, like, you respect people when you come down to their level and you really get in their face and you just say, like, look, like, what's going on? Let's solve this. He said himself, I had told her so much about all the terrible things I had did to other women who did not deserve it. So when I initially saw that, I immediately thought, is this bitch trying to pull a me on me?
Yep.
I don't know her. Y'all got also got the context of like they don't even know each other. But fuck all that. It's people who do know each other who argue like that, y'all. And I'm not saying that it's correct. I
Right.
don't think it's correct. I'm just saying it is up to that person and that person to decide whether or not this is a moment that should be assigned to that moment in time or to that relationship
The fact of the matter of it is that regardless of what you thought it was, what it wasn't was a fireable offense. Y'all out here acting like the
at
bulls
all.
walking around slapping her upside her head or some stuff like that because he got upset
He
with
only
her
ever
because
says
he
good
been
things about her.
like I mean it's silly and but that's the reason why the extremes that people went to is the reason why I dismiss some of the commentary. It's the reason why
But
I will not, because it deserves to be dismissed
you're not
the same way
litigating it.
the same yeah, because it's the extreme takes to me that deserve no response. It's the same way that we said y'all have to realize that Jada Pinkett Smith had alopecia and not cancer, right? Let's just be real about it, because people is acting like, she was on her deathbed. You know what I mean? And we have to bring some perspective to some of these conversations. And it seems like a lot of y'all don't have any perspective. To some of y'all, Elijah is no different from Ray Rice, the football player who we saw on camera drag a woman through a hotel room, right, on the by her hair, right. A lot of y'all speak about Elijah like him and Ray Rice is the same person. That's what I mean by the perspective. That's why I brought up the cancer versus, because one is a death sentence and the other is not. And a lot of y'all speak about this with zero perspective. There's no sense of reality in the conversation. You know what I mean? It's
And I
like,
get that. Y'all speaking from your higher selves. But I really wanted to make sure that we kind of touched on
y'all,
that because I felt like we are really seeing in real time two people kind of like navigate marriage. If you guys put a camera in your house with your husband
how
and
about
wife,
that?
it's
Let's do that.
you know what I mean? It's not always gonna be, and it ain't like he said you raggedy what is it,
Yeah,
you funky
you
dog head
raggedy
bitch.
dog.
He say that.
He
You know
might as
what I mean?
well.
He was
He
out
might
of
as well for
line. Don't get
y'all.
me
Like,
wrong. He
Jesus
wasn't out
Christ.
of line. But I do think that like, the perspective that we're seeing it from. But that's why it's funny when you watch these conversations, even Keisha didn't go as hard in on them as I'm sure, but that's because we all
Of
get it. When you
course.
married,
You get it.
you get it. Because it might be a time where Katina turn up and be like,
Right.
motherfucker, boom, 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 ah.
But even Katina don't agree with a lot of y'all, because Katina said she was wrong. Katina was upset with
At
Elijah
how it was
because
handled.
period.
And I think everybody was. I think that was I think from my perspective that was the conversation, like the way he handled it. But he wouldn't know how to handle a conversation that is conflicting with him with his wife because he just got a motherfucking wife. How
Period.
do y'all expect people to have all of these tools? And I get it. Y'all love to say you got to come into a relationship whole. A lot of y'all can be whole and still not know what the fuck y'all doing in a marriage.
That's a fact.
And you
That's a
could be
fact.
a big
As
old
whole as you
hole
want, as
motherfucking
whole as you
anything you
want to
want to
be.
be.
As
You could be
whole
a
as you.
whole anything the fuck you want to be. And you don't know how to navigate a marriage. And it's like, and I'm not saying that like that. What I mean, I'm speaking from it from experience that it is learned. Like
Period.
it's
You don't
something that
like.
you
It's a
actually
learning
have to
curve.
be in to learn. Just like being a mother parent, just
Right.
like being certain things you can have a bird's eye view. You can be a teacher, you can
Right.
have a bird's eye view about things, but the reality is until you're in it, your perspective on it may change.
Right. Right. And you have to keep a level head. And
Yeah, like
some of y'all are too
I
hot
literally
headed.
watched it like they gonna get paid. Like it meant nothing
Right.
to me. Like,
Right.
all right.
Because some of y'all are too hot headed. You're not level headed enough to really even be in a marriage, and a long lasting marriage. Some of y'all.
Or you're
Be,
above it. A lot of y'all think y'all above it, and the reality
yeah.
is that you being so far above is not seeing your spouse, and that's
Right.
why a lot of times people be acting a fool. And I think I suffer from that. I think that we were, especially with Joe and I, he was in a space where he needed to be seen, and I felt so above the, like, this, like, what are we doing, like, and that warranted a response as well. That gets a response too, right? So it's like, you can't, you have to be able to actually see the person you are with, good, bad, or indifferent. Y'all say these, y'all hear these vows being said, like, for better or for worse. For worse, sometimes it's just how the fuck I'm acting that day. For worse,
Yeah, and
you
this
know what I
was
mean?
not,
Day
and
to
when
day is something
and
different.
this is not what they meant when they said that in the
No,
vows. This
no,
this argument is was not the worst part. This is
it
not what they
wasn't.
meant by no.
But I think the bigger thing is that change behavior. I feel like he gives her more space. You know what I mean? I see the difference from day one. I didn't like Elijah One on day one. So I see Big C the difference in how he's evolving. But guess what, y'all? It's only been a month and some change. So what did y'all thought he was gonna do a 180? Y'all don't do 180s in that amount of time. It takes 21, like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all have to, like, really.
But we talking about this. We talking about the situation where Katina didn't do a 180 because if she had, it wouldn't be dating apps. This is the
Yeah,
grace that we talking about that needs to go both ways. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah. So they had a really relatively uneventful moment. I'm glad they kind of got on and addressed it with each other, and to everybody else, like, we good, we moving forward. It was a day, and I think that those kind of and it's weird, but those kind of arguments where you really got to lock in and prop those build foundations. And I know y'all might not see it that way, but
Oh, for sure.
unfortunately,
They'll be stronger in
because
their
of it.
next situation because this happened. They'll learn from it. They'll move on from it. They've already moved on from it in the same in this episode where it was kind of like being drug out even in the after show.
Yeah.
Like you could tell that they had moved on from each other from the situation and they in a different space.
Yeah. So I'm gonna leave it at that. The coach came on, told him straight up, it's okay to be emotional, but you gotta worry, you gotta make sure you're not saying anything disrespectful because you cannot take words back. I agree with that. I've said it a million times. You can say whatever you want. You just gotta make sure it's not disrespectful. Let's move on. Let's
Right,
talk
no doubt.
about Stephen Noy. I'm kinda getting tired of Stephen Noy, if I'm being honest. One, I'm tired of the narrative that
Yeah.
Steve is motherfucking brother man from the fifth flow. I said, I'm tired. I'm tired. He out here with the turkey sandwiches and doing this and selling the motherfucking CDs and DVDs
Yeah,
on
CDs,
52nd Street.
DVDs,
I'm not
whatever you
really.
want.
The problem is that neither one of them communicates, right? I think Steve is
Yeah.
trying, but I am so confused about what Noi wants. She don't even want to move in with the man, which I think is like,
Because Noe is triggered, which is what they talked about. Which the thing is, the reason why this is so tiring, one is because you could
it's
tell that
exhausting.
this is not their entire relationship, like we talked about before. Like this is a hot button topic that the producers saw and thought we need to drag this out because this is their
A thousand
storyline.
percent.
But this is not their entire relationship. Like obviously they have um days where they will talk about this and where um the reality of it is they're not talking much about it, which is the issue, right? You know what I mean? But when they do talk about it, you get every time they do, especially the other people, which speaks to their communication issue, because they'll talk to other people and we'll get more insight on the situation. Like when Keisha was asking Noy about the situation, and she said, "Well, it's a trigger for me because I was in a relationship where I was all in." Because he was asking her about the move-in thing, and she said, "It's a
Mm-hmm.
trigger to me because I was in a relationship where I was all in, and it crumbled, and I had to pick up the pieces, and I told myself I wouldn't put myself in that position again." She said something to that effect in the after party, and Keisha was like, "Well, did you tell Steve that?" And she's like, "No." You know what I mean? Like this is stuff that like they need to be communicating about. The same thing with her issue with him and the plan or the lack thereof of a relationship. That's something that like they're like, you know, I think Steve was talking to somebody and they're like, you need to talk to her. You know what I mean? So their
Mm-hmm.
biggest issue is communication and the lack thereof. But this is going to be drug out apparently for into perpetuity because they don't have anything else that is going to give them camera time.
I think you're right. I really, really do. They managed to bring the sister on, or them, they. on and have a conversation. But you know what? I also want to speak to y'all. Y'all, do y'all be in relationships having conversations about your relationship with people who not in relationships? Because that to me is weird.
It's
Like,
it is weird. It is weird. Like if you wanted, medical advice, you wouldn't go to your mechanic.
oh, right. That's exactly what I'm getting at. That's exactly my point. So I think that even having a conversation, and you, it's weird because I was going to say not to say that I don't go and talk to my sister about things, but both my sisters, are, all my siblings are married except for my youngest one, and he's a teenager. You know what I mean? So I be going to get advice from people who marry. You know what I mean? But I thought it was fascinating that she chose the brother. I think that
You said the brother. See, you slipped up.
well,
See,
no, it is.
no, she says her sister.
Oh, she does.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
See.
thought well, on the first day it was the
Yeah. Yeah.
brother.
That's the point.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but shit, that threw me off. Wait, I'm like the white woman with the mask. But no, I thought it was fascinating that they chose to speak with Sriracha about these things because it's like of from the outside looking in, no body wants their people to be in a relationship with, motherfucking brother being from the fifth flow or Tommy
Right.
from Martin. Like,
Right.
we don't want that. We want to
Right.
know that you got a job, right? But the reality is that when you're having a conversation with like somebody who's like in a relationship, a 10-year relationship, or even just gotten out of one, you get to have those real conversations like, well, are you asking the right questions about this
Mhm.
situation?
Yeah.
Because
You get much more sound advice.
you get much more sound advice. Because I think that just to be like, well, he need to get a job. It would be like, what is? I'm still trying to figure out what triggers him about having a job. Why am I the only one who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like, even on the after show, she said, well, I'm not very clear about what entrepreneurship means to him. Why is that? You lay up under this man every night. You don't
But
know what entrepreneurship is
this is your point.
or how he
This
defines it.
this is your point of why we need more of the experts to come in and spend more time there, right? Because that's a point of the conversation where somebody would need to say like that's something that y'all need to talk about. Have you asked him about it? Steve, have you brought this up to her about it? Have you explained your feelings? Have you know what I mean? Like y'all need to sit down and have a session with somebody. And I think
Because I think,
this might be more
excuse
to
me,
do with the pandemic team, the pandemic production team taking over because we don't
no,
see
they
enough
so
of.
busy trying to push out all these motherfucking iterations of Married at First Sight. They
How about
can't
that?
even fucking finish the one they own.
How about that? How about
Finish the
that?
one y'all on. Y'all so
Right.
busy in motherfucking Dallas or wherever the hell y'all at now that y'all ain't even y'all forgot y'all had one in Boston.
Right. How about that? So it's just we need to see more of that because like we said with Katina and Olajuwon, these people got thrown in from the top rope into a very deep situation with cameras around. And so why isn't there a little more hand holding in the process?
I don't understand it. I'm trying to. I understand if you don't know. I'm a biochem major. Like I understand how experiments work through and through. Okay. Um, so I understand that there has to be, you can't really change the environment or whatever the case may be in order to make sure that it's working properly. The only issue that I have with this, or you can change the environment, but you have to like have certain controls. So
Mhm.
I don't know if the control is that we don't have any control or
Yeah,
like
like what's yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like I don't know. Like I'm trying to because my thing is this: as a married person, and I'll keep saying it whole because yes, I'm proud of it. But as somebody who is able to coexist with another human being, I see the value of having experts around.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I see the value in seeing a therapist every 2 fucking weeks.
Right.
Why are we not seeing y'all with therapists? And y'all are brand new. Y'all should be meeting with a therapist every single
Not
week.
only that, but y'all are watching. Like Dr. Viviana came in
Right.
the other week and literally said, "Yeah, we're watching. We see everything that's happening." So y'all see all of the
It's
stuff that they're going through, and y'all
weird.
just sitting back in the side eating popcorn.
Like y'all wouldn't say like let's come back, let's assess this situation, let's
Yeah,
unpack this.
let's
Like
talk
y'all
about it.
wouldn't do that. And honestly, and not to go back to Katina and Lajimon, but this is kind of their show. But
Or-
the way I see Elijah Bond kind of buck up at Dr. Pepper and them, I get it. Y'all
yeah, I
ain't
get
gonna
it
be
too.
watching me like on some motherfucking Truman Show type shit, and then come around and then wanna now you wanna say like please.
Yeah,
And I know that from experience. I've had a therapist, y'all, and he probably out there watching like this bitch is still crazy. But I remember I had to curse him out, but I cursed him out because he didn't know me well at the time. And then he was like, "It's okay, you can curse me out today. You'll be back." And I came back, and he was the greatest therapist I ever had. But I'm saying that because sometimes when people say stuff to you and they have not developed a relationship with you, your
Mhm.
therapist got to develop a relationship with you too, so they could be able to give it to you straight. Like, you know what I mean?
But also,
And
you have to be there. Like, it's
how about
one
that?
thing to have discourse and go back and forth with somebody who you see every week or every other week or whatever. It's another thing to somebody to get dropped in. They've been sitting behind a camera or a laptop
Like you the
watching
Wizard of
you.
Oz or some shit, right?
Yeah, watching you on closed circuit television and then hop in and try to light a fire on your ass. It's like that's a whole different situation, and that's what
I can't.
they've been on this season.
But Stephen Noy didn't have much going on there either, which
They don't. They've been doing it, having the same
boring.
thing going on for
Right.
10 weeks
So
or
I'm
whatever it
over it. Steve get a job so she could like get on Glassdoor, LinkedIn, because this
is.
baby girl is she is like really killing my high. Okay. So let's move on to Michael and
Oh
Jasmina.
Lord, another
Get a
couple
check,
that have
ass.
nothing.
Jasmine is here to get a check, and
That's
it's
it,
not up
and
for
that's
debate.
all.
She not here to learn how to drive.
No,
She not
no,
here to talk to another mother.
not
She's here
for
to
a
get a check,
man, not for a friend,
and it
none
is
of it.
so terrible to watch because Michael.
Because Michael is gullible. Michael is really trying, and I think in his
I don't think
mind,
gullible is the right word. Gullible, I think that can have negative connotation. I think everything he's doing is positive.
oh no, 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 you gave it a negative kind of
Well, I think
connotation.
gullible can have a negative connotation. Well,
I'm
maybe I
saying
gave.
that's
Okay, I
you,
assigned
yeah,
it.
because
Okay,
yeah,
I
you
can take
assigned
that.
it. That's not what
Yeah.
I'm saying that I think Michael is going through this process thinking that she is 100% in.
Mm.
And when they have their ups and downs, she's up with him and she's down with him. And in reality, she is really just unbothered by the whole thing. She's really just, they're roommates. They are
Yeah.
roommates at the end of the day. Like if you're looking at this from what it for what it is, Michael and Jasmine are roommates. And it's boring. It's boring to watch because
It's boring to watch.
you
We
could
kind of
just
should have
tell
called
that
it
it's
it
just
is.
nothing there. It's just nothing there. She's giving him dust, and we're tired.
The unfortunate part about all of this is that you can see him really genuinely trying.
Yeah,
And and even how he showed up, even to want to teach her how to drive, to
yeah.
provide her with another level of independence. That's really awesome. Like, and granted, it might benefit him. Everybody know I don't like to drive. Joe drive me everywhere. This probably gonna be the most driving this age. I'm probably gonna get more miles on my car than a little bit. But like, I'm not a driver either. You know what I mean? But in my relationship, my husband does. It's not all the driving, most of it. So it's like,
But is it just me, or do I find the fact that she can't drive at all like a red flag? Like you're an
I don't.
adult.
She
You
live in the city.
what? Like
She's
you
in the
understand that?
Boston.
Like you're an adult. Like you're
Wait a minute,
30
somebody in
something.
the back left.
Yeah, they like yeah, because like we talk about the red flags and all this stuff. Like you know what I mean? Like you don't live in New York City.
You
You know
know
what I
what?
mean?
Touche.
Like,
Boston
why
does
don't
have
you
parking
even
spots.
you don't even have a learner's permit at 30 something years old?
I mean, that's a conversation for I don't know. I don't know. But I think okay, right. So let's go with that. You don't have this major piece of paperwork for an adult to have, right? Like massive. You don't think that doesn't tickle you a little bit that this man would take the time out of his day to want to provide you with that sort of independence?
If you were really into this process and trying to make it work with him, it would make you feel a type of way if you were. But
Because you're not.
because she's here so she won't get fined, uh it's just like another day to film. This is just
But you
you
know
know,
what? It really makes me think. We know people like Jasmina. And it really does make me think, and not in a negative way, because I don't think she's negative. I'm just saying that people who don't know when they've won, they so used to losing, they don't know when they've won. Um, it's really fascinating, and I get it. We all have this idea of what love looks like to us, and that's really. But and I'm gonna say this, and I don't care what y'all say. The only thing Michael don't got is that he might not be her type. He's a nice guy. He is patient,
That just means that your picker is off, Jasmina,
but which I'm not surprised by. Which
at
I'm
all.
not surprised by. You know what I mean? Like your picker is off. I think it's something to like he is a the things that he does to show that like I'm listening to you, I hear you, I want to see you be great. Y'all don't know a lot of motherfuckers that will invest in you that way. Like
No,
imagine. He didn't have to teach that bitch how to drive, but that's
no.
something that he could say, I provide, I helped you with. That's a big thing. Like I
But
know
a
y'all
real,
might not see it that way, but
not only that, but the biggest sign, one of the biggest signs of love and commitment is responding to your spouse's criticism and wants and needs, right? So our therapist says, once you know, now you're responsible, right? So what are you going to do with it, right? And I think they've had a lot of ups and downs and rocky conversations where she's giving him instruction, and at every turn he's taken the instruction and turned it into action. And that's to me a real sign of somebody who is here for the process, who is here for their marriage, who is here for the relationship, who is here for that other person, right? um uh, Giving somebody dust is the ultimate, like, I'm not, it's whatever. Like if I we sit down and we talk about something and then you go back and you do it a third and fourth time, that's a clear sign of like I really don't care, right? And I think that we've seen the complete opposite in Michael, where she'll talk to him about something, she'll make a comment about something, he'll take it, he'll put it into action. And that's why it's kind of hard for me to watch, because I can see that he doesn't see that she's giving him dust, and it's kind of his actions are kind of falling on deaf ears and eyes.
but that's because I think she does just
She does just
enough.
enough. Yeah.
But
Maybe
you
because we
in
have a bird's eyes view and he's in it. So
right.
that part too.
So I think she gives him just enough because they have cute moments like when he was cooking and everything like that. Like they do have
It's just
really
enough for
cute.
him, not for me, because I could see that there is no genuine in it. Like yeah.
Have you ever experienced that
What?
where you felt like you were into somebody and they might not have been reciprocating?
No.
I know. I don't know what that's like.
Mm.
He has no fucking idea. Like, he has no idea what's going on.
He
But my
is no.
thing is, like, just kiss the man in the mouth. All he want is a little kiss. You can see how tense he is around her. Like,
He's
even
very uncomfortable. There's
touch
no
her
real
and stuff.
positive reinforcement there.
None.
And when I say real, I don't mean somebody gives you flowers and you go, "Oh, thank you. That was so
No, you
sweet."
mean like,
Like you can tell, like when I do something for Zar, I can tell when it genuinely made her happy. Like and it could be nothing to me, like because, but that's marriage, right? You're not treating the person how you want to be treated. You
right.
treating them how they wanted to be treated, right? For her, it could be something like the other day. I think I ordered something. Like she said, we were texting and I was at the gym and she said she had a craving for something, and I went. It was like a soup or something. I can't remember what it was, but I went
I
and look
wanted
at
a
her face now.
grilled cheese
It was a grilled
sandwich
cheese
so bad,
sandwich.
and I can't eat I can't eat bread,
Yeah.
but I wanted it
But I
bad.
went to go get the sandwich and brought it home. You would have thought I came home with a
Oh my god,
brand
I'm
new
about to
car.
tear up. It was so
You know what I mean?
great.
Like you would have, but that's what I mean by I know when something is genuinely pleasing to my wife, not like, oh thanks, I appreciate that, bye. Like, and that's what Jasmina
And
gives him.
Joe don't respond to that either though. He
I
don't
don't.
like that. One time though, Joe he be listening. One time we went to Hooters on a Married at First Sight Wednesday. Hooters is what we do, right?
Right.
So we go to Hooters and I wanted some what I want, fried pickles. I love pickles.
Mhm.
So I wanted some fried pickles. But y'all, they were so salty. I could not eat these fucking pussy.
It's
I was
terrible.
so disappointed. Like so disappointed. I was like, oh God, like whatever. I was pissed. The next day, don't y'all know Joe brought some motherfucking pickles to the house? I was
Yeah, because she
like,
didn't get the pickles. She didn't get the pickles that she wanted. I knew she wanted some pickles.
I was like, oh, I feel seen. I was like he listens to me when I talk. Like, you know what I mean? I
But
don't
I
know how
think that
many
Michael is.
people
I think
feeling.
Michael is doing this type of active listening, but it's not. It's going nowhere. And that's what I mean, because I know from experience when somebody is struck a chord for you and you feel like I appreciate this person, I appreciate this gesture, and Jasmine is just like doing her best C-level acting.
Well, I'm glad his sister told him, like, just try something. You ain't gotta go and try to like put it in her mouth or nothing like
Yeah,
that. But you can kind of like
put it
you
in your mouth.
you can like, rub her back or like, lean in for a kiss, see what happens.
But I think there's something there too, where physically you know that it's not going to be received, and it's just a thing of like an energy. And I think that that's what's holding him back to from trying something on the physical tip, in the way of initiation, because I think that he can feel that the energy isn't there. You have to at least have this, open. Like I can tell when Zara is giving me like open energy, right? And I can also tell when it's not open at
And
all.
she'll get and he
You know what I
gets
mean?
pissed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I get pissed. I get sad because I always want to be
You
up
get
under her.
like, what's wrong with you? Get like, you'll try me like real, like,
That's when it goes
you
for,
okay?
yeah, that's when it goes for like a period of days, and then I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, then
You
he
know what I
get
mean?
pissed, y'all. Like, I'm not allowed to be upset.
Like,
No,
what
I'm
is
kidding. I'm
happening?
kidding. Don't call the people. I'm kidding. No, but so do you think you've ever been in a situation where somebody has liked you more than you like them, and they were doing all these amazing things for you, but you just could not reciprocate the feeling?
Yes.
That's so messed up. What did you do to get out of it? Were you just honest?
I didn't. No, I think I didn't do anything in particular. Like,
Mhm.
stuff that if there really aren't two fires lit, it'll just burn out. You know what I
That's
mean?
true. That's
And
true.
I think I just waited for it to slowly burn out.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm just curious about things like that because I can see how he can be maybe not see it like from our point of view because we're seeing it like you said like this omniscient point of view. But
Mhm.
I think that Jasmina the problem is that the reason why it's hard for me to watch is because I know so many single black women who
Mhm.
want to be with black men. And if you
And
know me,
who would really be love Michael, and really be here for the
it's hard to watch
process.
for me. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to watch for me because inversely, we talk about not many of y'all had the same energy that y'all have for Elijah that y'all should be having for Jasmina
Yep. That's a whole nother conversation.
because they are two different types of toxic.
Yep.
Toxic, but two different types. And it's like we need to be having conversations about that as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as much as I don't like, the last bitch, I do appreciate her being like, well, no, she didn't do that. Vaughn did it. Never mind. Never. I appreciate him being like, I'm done with this, right?
Right. Right.
Because
Right.
be real, like, just be real. Like, don't drag us out, and then we get the decision that you like. No, well, I just didn't feel anything for him.
Yeah.
Like, or
You
have the conversation about why you're not feeling anything. You might not be feeling anything because y'all don't touch. You
right.
don't like y'all
Or
don't
you're
do
not.
any.
Or you're not really vulnerable here for this process. Like you're not leaning in and actually like, when you're
It's giving Karen or whatever the fuck her name is. What was her name?
Alyssa.
No, you remember that? You remember the girl from the other season, New Orleans, same season as Woody and Amani. What's her
You
name?
talking about
Karen
Karen and
again?
Miles?
Karen, it's giving Karen a mouse. Like the problem is that, and also the issue with that, and I'm gonna tell y'all this, and this is from a marketing perspective. The issue with that is that our perception of you does not change at the end of this. So we see how
Yeah.
Woody and Amani out there living their life, doing this, boom, boom, that, getting all these brand partnerships and shit like that. Y'all won't be able to do that because we already see y'all a certain way. So it's
Yeah.
not real to us. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can tell that you're literally clocking in and clocking out.
And y'all might really be I mean, carrying them out, they still married. Y'all might really genuinely have a thriving marriage. And it might not be for us to care about, but I'm saying like y'all got on this show for a reason. It
Yeah.
wasn't just to find a motherfucking person. It's 2022. Y'all getting on here to expand your motherfucking social media platforms too. Stop playing like
Yeah, and I
you're not.
think that with Karen and Miles, Karen wised up at the end and realized what she had, and even if she had to really just put a spoonful of sugar to take the medicine, where I don't think that Jasmina is going to wise up at all. I think Jasmina is going to get to decision day and say, "I just don't feel a spark," and then they're going to say they're going to go their
And then
separate
we
ways.
all gonna be okay with it. But a lot of
Right.
y'all, a lot of y'all be wanting things and it be a lie. Y'all don't want it. Y'all don't want to be married. Y'all really enjoy this single life because y'all do things to put yourself in situations where things are unattainable on purpose.
Yep.
On purpose. And what that says to me
That's
is
what I
that
was
this
saying
is
about the
not something
Katina
that you want.
Lajuan thing. Yep.
It's just not something that you want. And let me tell you something. Don't lie to us. Tell the truth because we're gonna tell the truth about you.
Right.
Well, don't lie to us about it because we're going to tell the truth. So I want to move on from them. I really am praying for Michael, and I just hope he don't come out here on some demon time after this.
Yeah.
Now, talking about demon time, let's go ahead and get on into Miss Lindsay and Mark. Mark ain't got no money. Mark is stressed out. He ain't got no money, and
Well, Mark got laid off from his job.
that's what I'm saying. He
Yeah,
got no
and
fucking money.
well, no, I don't. I think I think right now he's legitimately in between jobs because he got laid off. Um, Not like just wanting to be off of work like Steve, but
How about that?
I think that we they talked about this. I think it was last week a little bit, where she keeps hitting him there, and I think that that's
Oh,
the
they said that.
yeah, she keeps hitting him there and keeps going to the low blows whenever she feels upset, and talk about toxicity. Like that's the my biggest issue between Mark and Lindsay is that like every time they have discourse or anything, it goes back to like, well, you know, I'm doing this for you and you ain't got this and da 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 da, you know.
I think okay, I can go with you there, but I'm also thinking it from the perspective of you sign up for the situation, right? And then you come in as your whole self. I'm
Mhm.
financially in a certain place. I'm sturdy. Yeah, my apartment is small, but it's mine. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like whatever the case may be. And then you literally get matched with somebody, marry them legally, and then their entire world falls apart. I would have that's a trauma response to me. Because what we're not
I think
oh
this is true of Lindsay's personality and consistent about what everybody has said about her.
no, I'm not saying that she's not toxic. And
Oh,
I
okay.
don't want to overuse that word. I don't want to say that she's not problematic. She is. You know what I mean? I think what I'm getting at though is if I'm being honest, that would be hard for me to deal with too.
Of
Like it
course.
would probably be a point, it would probably be a topic of conversation every other night in my house because I would be like,
I
what
think
is
I
going
think
on?
I think this is less of about whether or not it's a legitimate concern and more about how she's handling it. Same thing we talked about with like Katina Lajuan, right? Like it's about how she's handling it. I don't think she handles their situation well. I don't think she handles him well because Mark is very similar to Michael in that you can tell when he's trying like they talk about
Yeah.
stuff and he goes and tries to put it into action and he tries to and he even said like, man, when we talk, we'll talk about how we should handle something, how we should do something, and then it'll arise, and then you go back into your bag, and we're back at square one. He talked
But
about that.
I don't, let me tell you something. It takes two to tango. I'm not giving Mark too much room. And the more I watch him, the more I do get lazy from him. Lazy in love, lazy. Like some people really do believe stuff just supposed to come to them and that's just supposed to be what it is. You know what I mean? And not like hard work. Like some people don't have a problem working hard. I mean like problem solving. Lazy in that. Lazy in being innovative, lazy and being present. I think he's lazy. I think that I understand her frustration because from my perspective, I'm watching it and I'm like, even the whole situation with the vegetables and stuff. They at the damn supermarket. Yeah, we got a budget or whatever the case
Well,
may
Mark is
be.
just basic in that way. Like
And
he's
that's
just,
fine.
you know what
But
I
you,
mean?
but listen, but you
That's
was
more of a
kind of like
basic
that.
thing.
You not basic, but you were like certain things you didn't eat unless I was like, no, you going I'm gonna cook it and you gonna eat it. You know what I mean? And out of respect, I feel like for the time that I spent making dinner and everything that I put into that, you just started trying different things, right?
No,
Like,
no, no. I hear what you're saying in that. I'm saying, I think that um, there's a difference between like being emotionally lazy and
I
just
think he's
being
emotionally
and,
lazy.
and just being like
Checked
want
out.
to I want to say it no I want to say it in a nice way, like just being a extremely basic person. That's the nicest way I
Oh, so
can put
you
it.
just think that any okay, Lindsay is just too complex for him.
I think she might be way more advanced in
Life.
in life, and in that space of it can be frustrating when you are much more adventurous, you're much more
Mm-hmm.
well rounded, and the person you
Right.
are with is a little more basic, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because
And so
I'm
i
not the
i don't
adventurous
think that
type.
it's a I but no but you are very much so active in trying to do things that push our marriage forward. So if I
Something.
want to go do something, I want to go try something, like you're like, okay, let's go try it. Let's, you know what I mean? Like I think whereas Mark doesn't know what he doesn't know because his surrounding, his
It's been
experience
vanilla.
has been south side of Boston, right?
Okay. Okay.
And so I think it's more of an innate thing in him, which for me brings in the experts. This is your job to come in, and we don't see them, and that's my
And
frustration
you
with
know
the
what
show.
though? I agree because I think that you have to like open up a bit. Like, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like the fact that she cooked dinner and then you wouldn't even touch what she made and you bring in some
Yeah,
that to me is like being a person who cooked just about every night. That to me is the ultimate disrespect. Joe,
mhm.
no, if I cook something and he say, "Oh well, I want it," I'd be like, "Motherfucker, you gonna eat what I made?" You know what I mean? And granted, you might have like you might really genuinely want something else, but I just think that he does not give anything, and then we get to see her terrible reaction to that. You know what I
And
mean?
I think 1,000%. But I think that's where the experts need to come in, because I don't think there's nuance in all of these type of situations, right? For Mark, talk about learned behavior. Just eating chicken fingers and French fries is a learned thing for him, and it's not. It has nothing to do with Lindsay. Like Mark has always, you can tell that Mark, his ceiling, him eating a clean dinner is getting lettuce on his burger, right? And
Right.
you can tell that that's the height of his knowledge as far as like nutrition, right? And Lindsay is not used to that. But Lindsay, like you were talking about, takes it personal. She reacts
It's
viscerally to
hard
it.
not to.
You know what I'm saying? Lindsay is also an emotional person, very much like Olajuwon, because she's a white woman. We don't want to cancel her, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
Very
Um,
much like
whole
Elijah
a
Wan.
whole nother
Very
conversation
much.
for another
Yes.
day. But we don't call Lindsay abusive and say that she needs to be arrested. But I think that there's something there where the experts need to come in and tap into the nuances and make them aware, make each other aware of what those nuances are. And I think it'll help land the plane a little bit more. But we don't see that. We're just watching them drown from a screen, and nobody is coming in
Literally.
and saying, well, this is what triggers him and this is what triggers her, and this is how you can be more understanding about it and then react to it differently. But they we need to see more counseling, you know what I mean?
We need to see more counseling because in the first couple episodes past the Kyle, and they have like they're privy to more footage than we are. He said to Lindsay, like, you're not making enough space for Mark. You know what I mean? But and I said something to like it's hard for her to make space. Like she feels like she has to fill the space, right? But if he stood in his constitution and was really into the things that he spoke about or whatever the case may be, she would not be able to do that. It's like I just don't he stresses me out because it's like You're mad because she wants to give 150% because you're only giving 50%. So then she feels like she got to give all this extra and it comes off as obnoxious to all of us. You know what I mean? Whereas if she was with somebody who was just as into the situation, we would see a completely different Lindsay.
I think that Mark, the difference between Mark and Jasmina is try. And I think that Mark is actually trying. I think
I
he
don't
just
think so.
I think he just doesn't know. He doesn't know any better. Mark doesn't,
I
and
think
this is why I think there needs to be more counseling.
okay. I think now that I agree with. I don't think he knows any better. So that's why I don't give him as much like rah rah because I don't think he's doing it intentionally,
I
and I
don't.
don't
I
think
think
he
he just
knows
doesn't.
any. I don't think he knows how else to approach the situation. But like you said, that how you can't. I think it's so important that they put everybody in the same building. But these are newly married people. They don't know how to be married. They just wasn't even in a fucking relationship.
Right,
So
right.
the fact that we would give them each other, but not provide them with help
Yeah.
is weird to me. What's more weird is the cat photo shoot. The way a lot of y'all love your pets is not healthy. And I don't care what y'all say. It's not.
Especially if they cats. Let's just be
I
honest.
mean, I love cats. I love cats. I want a cat
Especially if they're
so
cats.
bad. I want
I
a cat
love
so
cats
bad.
too. Tigers, lions, all of that.
Somebody
Mountain
bang on here.
lions,
Somebody bang on here.
jaguars. I love cats.
I
But
can't.
this is, the whole cat thing is weird. But that was an example of Mark trying, right? Mark knew that she was upset, and Mark knew that she just wanted to hear that he wanted her to stay. So Mark is like, I want you to stay. He had to say it multiple times because she kept, this is the part where it's like Lindsay is not handling things well, right? Because Mark is like, I think it would be great if you would stay. Well, if you want me to stay, just say you want me to stay. I think it would be great if you would stay and we could do the photo shoot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had to say it multiple times, and then it was just like this
But that's
whole
because, like I said earlier, when you're in an emotional space, when somebody shows up and is not meeting you and not seeing you in that emotional space, like let's cut off everything, it comes off as smug. I said that earlier about Katina and Elijah. The reason why Elijah didn't get the response that he wanted because he thought this bitch is being smug after I done sat up here and said this, right? You're not showing up with the same emotional, and nobody is going to do that, right? Some people are hyper emotional. I can't meet you there. But the reality is, I can let you know that I see you and I understand that you're
and
upset.
that's what
And
Mark
I
was
want you to
doing. That's
know
what I
I
meant
need
by
you to stay there.
trying.
He ain't do all that. He just said,
He did. He said,
it,
I want us to do the photo shoot because he knew she wanted the photo shoot. That was
but
his
even the
job. His
way,
job was to
even,
say, we're gonna push through this,
and she
regardless
did
of
it.
us being angry. And she did it, but it was like pulling teeth from a child. That's the thing. Like it,
But
it
that's
went it
because
went on
I
way
am
longer than it
now,
needed to go.
it, and, okay, but I feel like he kind of started the argument. You don't feel like he started it?
I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember how the argument started. I
So
was just
he
talking about
came
landing the plane.
in, she was trying to get him to eat. He came in being weird with like a battery in his back. Like, you know what I mean? So he kind of shifted the energy. And then when she put her hand on him and he was like, please don't grab me like that.
Oh,
And
what
she was
happened?
like, are you
They were.
kidding me?
He was trying to talk about something that they were supposed to talk about, but the timing was off, and that was him not reading the room. Like, he was trying to bring
Like,
it up at a time where she was trying to have like a light dinner or whatever, and
and
he
she
and
out here dressing the
but I
motherfucker.
think
Imagine you put in all that effort. Is she not allowed?
but I
She
think
done dressed the cats up in short
but I
costumes.
think this
She got
speaks
on
to
blue.
yeah, I think this speaks to also one needing more counseling, because this was Mark, like everyone says, Mark is very scared of confrontation. So I
Yeah,
think
it's
this was Mark building himself. In order for him to have these conversations, he has to build himself up, and it has to be a day and a time, and the sun has to be perfectly
yeah.
to the right and everything like that. And I think that that's what happened, where I don't know if he had just come from the conversation with his friend or whatever, but he built himself up to be ready to have a conversation with Lindsay.
No matter
and
what was going on in the house, he was like, I'm going to have this
and that's
conversation.
and because he couldn't, there's no other, he can't just have it off the cuff.
Maybe. maybe. But the point is that he shifted the energy in the room. So yes, he does have to work a little bit harder to get it back.
Yeah, he did, but it's always a situation with Lindsay. Like it could be, it from the very first week, it was always a situation where it was like reeling Lindsay in over and over and over and
Yeah,
over.
and maybe he in the space where now he feels permanently small, so he doesn't show up.
Yeah,
Like, go ahead, girl, fill the room up. I ain't got time. Well, I ain't got time either. I got shit to do. I'm trying to go to Sprouts so I can cook myself some dinner tonight. But thank you guys for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I did. Thank you, babe, for making time for this. I know you got a really busy
yeah,
schedule, so
we
we
got
thank
it
you for
in. We
that.
had to set up on the tour bus and make it work, but
Yes, but he did it, y'all. He did it just so he can come and chit chat with us. So, I love you. I guess we'll talk soon, you and I. But I hope you guys bust down, subscribe to this channel. Make sure you share it with somebody who might like this content. Who are you chit chatting about Married at First Sight with? Share this content with them, and let's get these subscribers up because me and Joe got big things in the making. Okay, and y'all supposed to be a part of it. So we love y'all. Show Joe some love on his community post because we want him to know that he's supported on tour, child. He in these streets. All right. And we
uh,
watching him.
what
And
is
we'll see you beautiful mother jumpers later.
it?
Bye.